G'day, this is Donna Arthur from Craft With Us Oz. I'd really like to thank you for joining us today. This is the continuation of my series of cards that I'm making for my family. So this here is a birthday card for my mother-in-law actually. So sales pitch first. We're going to start with our card builder pack, and it's the Mary Berry one. You can see it's got, all like reds and pinks in it. The cards are 7 by 5 inch, a white inside. You get A5 card A4 card, I beg your pardon, that matches. It's full color. Some gems, flat back gems, envelopes and ribbons. Anyway, I'll have a link for that down below. So sales pitch is done. Okay, today we're going to start with this 5 by 7 card base from the Mary Berry pack and one of the pink papers. This is just a piece of white cardstock that I have blended. I've used Stampin' Up inks, Tempting Turquoise, Pool Party and Bermuda Bay. I didn't do that on screen today with the blending. So I'm just going to cut this pink cardstock to 4.5 inches by 6.5 inches. So that's a 1/2 inch, so it gives me a 1/4 inch edge all around the outside. So I cut some white flowers. These are beautiful, delicate flowers. I'll also have a link for those below. And what I've done in my card today is I'm trying to show you some of the process that I do while I'm working out and how to put these things together. One of the things I get asked a lot by my students is, how do you work out what to do? How do you know what to do? So literally it's trial and error for me. I'm not sure how others do it, but I'm just checking out, okay, so where am I going to place the circle? I have no idea what I'm going to do at this point. This is the first time I'm making this card, and it's total discovery, so you can see it all. So I've decided that I didn't want the circle in the middle, so I've put it up in the corner. Clearly it's a portrait card. The turquoise, the colors of course look lovely together, and you can see all I'm doing now is these die cuts that I've got. I'm positioning them. That looks cute. So let's try with the other one. This is a set, those two flowers, and they're slightly different, but they will layer beautifully as well. So I'm just trying that on top of one another. Oh yeah, okay, that looks cute as well. What if I do it this way? So by turning it around, maybe back again, you can really decide which way to go. I felt it needed a bit of a break, so I just happened to have a piece of white cardstock. It was just some of the scrap that I'd cut that I was using, I beg your pardon, to cut the dies out of. So let's see how that looks. Okay, I think that looks pretty good. So rather than use those full pieces, I'm going to literally use the pieces that I have cut out from. So this is one really good way, particularly if you're new, to help save your supplies. You can just use the cutouts from, I'm not exactly sure why I cut this one this way, but that's okay. But you can use a lot of your scraps because no one can see underneath what's going. No one's going to see any of this part because it's all going to be hidden by what's going on top. So I'm just making sure that with my positioning, it's all going to be good. I do this a lot. I check and recheck. I'm a little bit of a perfectionist. I'm pretty sure that I've said that in my videos before, and everyone that comes to my classes or our craft group knows that that's the way I am. And I like to just check and double check that everything's going to be perfect. So this is really for me just to get an idea of where those white bits have to be at the side. So I've put double-sided tape on them now. I've already stuck one down and I'm just positioning the other one. So this is giving me about probably 1/8 of an inch around that edge, which is nice. And then, okay, that's perfect. So what I've done now is I've put the tape on the back of my turquoise blended card, and I'm just holding that where I want it on the back of the pink one. You can see that I've just folded the tape back in to opposing corners, and I was holding it in place with the top pink card, and I've just pressed it down so I know it's in the right spot. Doesn't matter if it's straight or not underneath, as long as it looks good from the top. So now let me just make sure I'm happy with how this is going to go, because that's what I decided. And I go, yeah, maybe not. So let's move it around some other ways. Okay, I think that looks pretty. and it's a little bit different. Try it with a pink flower on top. No, you lose that, so we won't go with that. Maybe double up on there. So this is, as I said, part of my process is checking it out. How does it look? What do I do? How am I going to put this together? So this is how I've decided. So what I'm doing is marking that with pencil just so I can see where to glue from. I actually probably should have flipped that flower over to the opposite side before I did the pencil marks, but that's okay because I can just use an eraser. If I flipped it over first, it would just make it easier to see, you know, without having to flip it backwards and forwards, as you can see that I'm doing there, to make sure that I'm just putting the glue in the right place. I'm doing the same with the other one, and once again I'm doing it on the front. I didn't learn. It was just while I was watching the video that I figured out, I probably should have flipped it over. But that's okay. Just use my eraser, get rid of those pencil marks, nice and easy, and I'm just going to trim off the excess flower there. All right, a little bit of glue there to make it. So what I've got now is a bit of craft foam. I want to pop that up, but I want it to stay nice and flat, and I don't want it to get damaged. My mother-in-law lives in Melbourne, in Warrnambool actually, in Victoria. So I wanted to make sure that it wasn't going to get destroyed as it went through the rollers. So I've just popped the foam on there, marked out my circle, and I'm going to cut one out that's bigger. So this way you won't be able to see it, but it'll keep everything nice and flat. Look at that, lovely. So I'm just going to use a little bit of glue. Now in my glue bottle, once again, people ask me about that. I've actually just got Aleene's tacky glue in there with a little bit of water to make it a little bit runnier. And I'm just using that. I've never had a problem with it. It's all good. So stick that on top of my craft foam sheet. And now I can pop it up. I love the way that it gives a little bit of a shadow. So I'm just layering my die cut here. I just wanted to show people how I do this as well. Now this is best done outside because that glue smells a bit, and you can see that I love my pizza box. I've used it quite a bit, excuse me, with all that glue in there. But literally I spray it. I put the bottom one down first, spray on the top of it, and put the layer on top. I've found that this way I'm less likely to get any glue showing. Mind you, although it does look yellow in the box, it does dry clear. This spray glue I literally just bought from a $2 shop. Stacks, I think, here in Australia is where I've purchased that. And you can see this die is lovely. Once again, there'll be a link to this particular die set. And I was, you know, like in the, what is it? Down the bottom of the video. And I love the fact that it's got a mum how we spell it in Australia, not just the American writing of it, the spelling of it. So this is just a sentiment strip, and it just says happy birthday from my tiny stamp set. And you can see, once again, I just tried it out. It was just, I liked that, the way that I had it set up pretty much straight away. So I'm just gluing the strip into place. Now I'm trimming that a little bit there, but you'll see that a little bit later on I trim it further. And I'm just going to stick the mum on. It's a little bit of a dimension on it, which is nice. So you can see from, yes, I'm doing it from the other side now, cutting it so it matches the circle, that little banner piece, that little strip, sentiment strip that I've got. Once again, I use double-sided tape because I want this to be perfect. I've just lifted it at each corner. And I'm actually going to place that, put that in position on my card, make sure it's in the right spot, then press down the two corners that have that little bit of tape removed, and then remove the rest of the tape. Now I kept this fairly simple. I didn't add anything extra, but you could add a little bit of maybe Wink of Stella to the flowers or some little gemstones, but I thought it was quite pretty just the way it was. So here is our completed card. I know that my mother-in-law Wilma really liked it, so job done. You can see here that I have added some gemstones. I hope you enjoyed today's presentation, and if you do, please like and subscribe. See you next time.